Okay, everybody, someone recommended me to do the Hat Man, and so here we are. If I do something, okay, if I say something and it's not how it's supposed to be pronounced, don't do anything. Okay, here we go. We're gonna jump into this. I don't know this. Okay, like I said, I was recommended this, so here we go. The Hat Man. The mysterious shadow person who lurks in the dark corners of his victims' bedrooms. Okay, just reading that line is gonna give me chills because I'm outside right now and it's blowing, and just that one line, it's okay. Sightings of a featureless shadow figure in a wide-brimmed hat known as the Hat Man have been linked to sleep paralysis and the overuse of Benadryl, but those who have seen the eerie entity think he may be something much more menacing. Oh no, I use Benadryl to help me sleep. If I see this at night, I swear I am gonna. Okay, he kind of looks like Freddy Krueger, okay? If you spend enough time on the internet, you're bound to come across any number of strange stories. Online forums have spawned a new wave of urban legends ranging from Slenderman to the ever-evolving lore of the SCP Foundation. Yes, that is true. But among these terrifying tales, one entity keeps coming up. A shadow person known as the Hat Man. Okay, if I swear, if I get high one of these days and I see that thing, I'm gonna. Unlike his fellow internet counterparts, however, the Hat Man may have actually be real. Or at least he might not just be the stuff of virtual legend. Countless threads on internet forums have asked the same question. Has anyone else seen the Hat Man? What many consider to be a one-off, isolated event has turned out to be a widespread phenomenon of people across the world experiencing small incidents. Hat Man witnesses all report seeing the same thing. A shadow being whose features are completely obscured except for the presence of a large, wide-brimmed hat. Generally, the experience aligns with instances of sleep paralysis, but many have found the similarities of the sightings eerie, to say the least. Of course, there are scientific explanations for the phenomenon, though some would argue the Hat Man is something far darker. Who is the Hat Man? See, he looks like Freddy Krueger. No, never mind. That's a trench coat. Never mind. I had to lean in to see it. And that's so that's an interpretation. Okay. The Hat Man is a mysterious figure who has been seen by people across the globe, often during episodes of sleep paralysis, a state when one is conscious but unable to move upon waking. That is scary. There's a lot of people out there that experience this. I'm sorry if you guys have experienced this, because I'd be terrified. Since ancient times, people have seen shapes and odd figures during bouts of sleep paralysis. Often they report a feeling of someone pressing down on their chest, sometimes claiming that an alien or goblin-like creature is holding them down or sitting atop them. It was once even believed that demons were responsible for the sensation. However, the Hat Man doesn't touch his victims, totally described as a tall, shadowy humanoid donning a wide-brimmed hat and sometimes a long coat. The Hat Man is simply associated with intense feelings of fear and dread. Okay, I have both of those, so if I ever see the Shadow Man, you guys, and I end up disappearing, we all know who took me. It's the Hat Man. While the phenomenon has gained traction online in recent years, sightings of the entity have been recorded since at least 2001. Okay, that's like 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, that's like, you guys, that's 7 years before I was born. Yeah, so this happened like 7 years before I was born. And before that, even. That year, a man named Timothy M. Brown Jr. launched the Hat Man Project, a site to research the phenomenon that has come to be known as the Hat Man. If you guys want me to in the next video, I will go and look up the Hat Man Project and we will be tormented together. Brown writes, reports of the Hat Man and other shadow beings have been on the rise within the last several decades. It was due to my own experience with this being as well as my awareness of other people's sightings of the Hat Man that I decided to begin this research project. The site features a forum for visitors to submit their own experiences with the Hat Man, all of which have a shadowy figure with a wide-brimmed hat in common. As with anything on the internet, much of the mystery surrounding the Hat Man has been turned into a meme. Of course it has. everybody turns everything into a meme nowadays. But those who encounter the haunting shadow person are left unnerved. The remarkable similarity of their accounts has led to numerous theories about who the Hat Man is and why he appears. Okay, why did they put Slenderman with a hat? I'm sorry to say that is Slenderman. That is Daddy. I'm sorry. Anyone out there who is think that creepypastas are hot, Slenderman is the main guy, and then it goes the Rake, in my opinion. But let's go back to reading. One of the prevailing theories about the Hat Man is that he is a type of shadow person, a paranormal being that appears in the periphery of human vision. Shadow people are largely thought to be evil, although some see them more as guardian figures. The Hat Man's unique appearance is the primary factor behind the idea that he is an interdimensional shadow being. Humans have long been afraid of demons or aliens, but few people would cite a man in a hat as one of their top fears. To try and understand where this imagery came from, forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland sat down for an interview with paranormal expert Rosemary Ellen Gulley for a piece in Psychology Today in 2013. Gulley, who had just published a book on jinn at the time, shape-shifting genies from Arabian mythology, also known as the jinn, spoke of her own experiences with shadow people. If you guys want me to, next time I'll also look up jinn and we can go into that and see what Gulley wrote. I noticed that many cases of persistent negative hauntings involve shadow people, so I began probing for their true identity, Gulley said. I discovered that many shadow people experiencers are also ET experiencers, especially abductees. Through a long process, I concluded that shadow people are a shapeshifter form taken by jinn. Gulley further explained that according to old tales, jinn often struggled to perfectly replicate the human form. They retained animalistic legs and feet that would expose them for what they truly were. Gulley had also speculated that shadow people wear hats and cowls to cover up imperfect heads. If the Hat Man is one of Gulley's jinn, this could be an explanation for his wide-brimmed hat. That's a pretty good theory. I'll back that up. That's kind of a good theory. Of course, this explanation also requires a belief in jinn, and science has never proven they exist. However, there are some scientific reasons for why people see the Hat Man. Okay, this picture. Okay, this is kind of like something you would see like in the old times, like something you would walk into a museum and you would see like the Mona Lisa, and then you would see this. What is this called? Henry Fuseli's A Nightmare bespeaks a demon sitting on a sleeping woman's chest. So this is what people feel like when they're having a episode of those things, okay? When you're having a sleep paralysis moment, you're thinking of this because you feel like you're having someone sit on your chest. Okay, sorry, I was trying to connect that picture to this. To understand why people see the Hat Man, we must also understand how sleep paralysis works. Sleep paralysis is linked to the rapid eye movement REM, which they use that in therapy. Stage of the sleep cycle, REM, is a stage in which most people experience vivid dreams in atonia, a temporary form of paralysis that prevents dreamers from flailing about in their sleep. Typically, when a person wakes up, both the dreaming and the atonia come to an end. This is not always the case, though. When someone experiences sleep paralysis, their body is still unable to move, even though their brain is mostly awake, and they can experience vivid hallucinations. People who report seeing the Hat Man often say that he does not speak or attempt to touch them. Often he simply lurks in a corner of the room. Because of this, science attributes his appearance to sleep paralysis. As for why this specific imagery of the Hat Man is so commonplace, it's difficult to say with any certainty why so many people share the same hallucination. 2 decades ago, when Brown started the Hat Man project, it seemed to be a very strange, uncommon image. However, in the years since, as more and more people became aware of the Hat Man, it makes sense they begin picturing him while experiencing sleep paralysis. Like Pennywise the Clown, Dracula, or Frankenstein's monster, the Hat Man has become a famous figure in his own right, instilling fear in people across the world. If you wake up in a panic, unable to move, why wouldn't your mind conjure up the image of that terrifying thing you read about online? Despite how scary the Hat Man is to many people, some thrill seekers have tried to intentionally summon him in their dreams. Okay, if you guys really wanted me to, I would try summoning him, but at the same time, I don't want to summon a thing that might be a demon. That's stupid. But let's continue. How Benadryl plays a role in shadow person sightings. Over the years, a common denominator has popped up again and again, stories about the Hat Man. Many of the people who have reported seeing the shadow being took medication containing diphenhydramine. That sounds like some kind of diphenhydramine? Okay, you guys can correct me if I said it wrong. Before going to sleep the night he appeared to them. That word again, not saying it. Or DPH, that's a lot more better, is the active ingredient in Benadryl. Okay, that shirt. That's funny, okay? I would wear that. I would wear that just for my sense of humor. This purported connection became so widely circulated that it actually became dangerous. People started taking high doses of drugs containing that DPH in hopes of seeing the Hat Man or other shadow people and then posting trip reports to detail their experiences. To be clear, this can be highly unsafe. An NIH report highlighted some of the potential dangers of DPH, noting that it can lead to agitation, confusion, delirium, depression, drowsiness, hallucinations, and seizures. Never mind, we are not summoning that thing, anyone. DPH abuse is not only the way to see that Hat Man, however, it's not entirely clear what causes the mysterious entity to appear, but some people have reported seeing him after drinking caffeine or alcohol, and others have simply spotted him during a random incident of sleep paralysis. Like Bigfoot, until someone captures the Hat Man and proves his existence, it is safest to say he is nothing more than the result of a shared imagination and the power of storytelling. Okay, that was extremely interesting. I thank the person that recommended this to me. Now I want to dig more into this, so let me know if you guys want me to go onto that website, the Hatman Project, and I will record the stuff on there what that guy has done. Let me know down below if this was interesting. I thought it was extremely interesting. Now, it's not like a serial killer case, but the Hatman was really interesting learning about. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Comment down below. If you don't want to like and subscribe, you don't have to. At least if you watch the video and like it, at least comment, please and thank you. And let me know if there's any other cases or any other things you want me to look up. I will gladly do it. Thank you for watching.